What's your name?
My name's Jamie.
How old are you?
I am 28 years old.
What kind of hobbies do you have?
Where to start? I enjoy skiing, fishing, a little bit of baking, jet skiing. I will be taking on a new hobby this winter, snowmobiling. I'm a little nervous, but I seem to like to go fast, and I used to really hate winter. And now that I've found more winter activities, I find them very, very much enjoyable. I still do like summer, but the heat's a little unbearable. So,
Yeah. Where did you grow up?
born and raised in Medicine Hat, Alberta.
How would you say your childhood was?
Ooh. Balanced yet traumatizing. Parents divorced when I was 2. Part of me is very grateful that that happened because I couldn't imagine being a young teenager watching your family be torn apart. I got the bad side of it with my mom, her being an alcoholic, and then the good side with dad because there was always structure in the house. So it was taught me how I want to raise my own family one day.
Tell me about your family.
Which one?
All of it.
Well, my mom's side of the family is very complicated and very mentally ill. It has always been a struggle for me dealing with them and trying to be respectful yet to stand up for myself and set boundaries. Whereas my dad's side of the family, they're very laid back, very understanding, very open and very considerate, and if I had to choose who to be around more, I would definitely choose my dad's side because it's more level and a better, more relaxed environment.
All right. Tell me about your teenage years.
Can I swear in this?
Sure.
I fucking hated school. I was the pudgy kid that, when I went to gym class, I wore shorts and a hoodie and didn't want to get made fun of because I was a little heavier than what exceeded proper expectations of body image. By the time I was about 15, I started partying, drinking a lot, smoking marijuana, skipping school. I had a group of friends, but they weren't really my friends. I didn't attend my graduation. I dropped out and finished correspondence. Yes, I still graduated, but people that I was associated with or knew me in high school thought that I dropped out. So that really showed me how much they paid attention or, seeing me as a person.
When did you smoke your first cigarette?
I was 9 years old in front of my grandma's house with my cousin. Players like king size in my uncle's van. And I lit it and I got smoke in my eye, and son of a bitch, it fucking hurt. I don't remember smoking the whole thing, but I remember that, so when people ask me, it's like, this is not normal for a child to be smoking a cigarette at 9, but it happened.
What was your first face with addiction?
I would say it started when I was in pre-adolescence, maybe 7 or 8 years old. At my mom's side of the family, at Christmas or Thanksgiving, they'd always have that Arbor Mist wine. I was always offered a little glass, and well, sure shit, I drank it. Figured I felt like, grown person. Tasted good, tasted like juice, and I only got, a little small glass, but I thought that was normal then.
So you said you smoked weed. What was your next drug you experimented with?
So I smoked my first joint when I was 15, when I got my very first job at Tim Hortons. I remember being at the mall, hanging out with some real shady guy, but I thought he was cool then. Went outside, smoked a joint, I didn't feel a thing. And I thought, well, this is bunk. But I've heard through other people that the first time they smoked weed, that's what happens. You don't feel anything. So I dabbled in that for a few years, and then when I was about 17, 18, I tried ecstasy for the first time. It was awesome. I don't even know how to describe it. Felt like I was walking on air, and everything felt good. Cigarettes tasted amazing, and wow, complete and absolute euphoria.
And you could start with your addiction story now, about how it all went about.
Oh boy. I harbored a lot of resentments towards my father, thinking that he didn't love me, didn't care for me, didn't want nothing to do with me. I put myself in a lot of shitty relationships, tried to fill the void with sexual partners, and I tried to escape myself because I didn't like who I was. I didn't know who I was. It's really hard for me to think back because my life has changed so completely, and so okay, 18, 19, maybe 20, I went out a lot. Blackout bingoed almost every weekend, vomiting, promiscuous acts, one night stands, you name it, I fucking did it. It was more so just the booze then, and then as I got maybe to about 22, 23, I went through some hard times with my mom, and she had this thing where she enjoyed kicking me out a lot, so I lived with numerous different men that obviously never panned out. Always became physical on my end, on their end. Absolute chaos. So I met this gentleman through Instagram, and we started hanging out. And I often wondered why, when we would hang out, he was always sweaty and his eyes were rolling in the back of his head. Turns out he was into fentanyl. We started small, him and I. We started doing cocaine. That was not my first time doing it. First time I did it, I was at a get-together at a random house, and I was that person that always said, I will never, ever do more than smoke marijuana. Well, I loved the blow so fucking much, I couldn't wait to find it again. So me and this person, we started a relationship and started doing coke and blah, blah, blah. It was absolute sour. That was just the peaking point, I guess, of my trouble with the law as well. I mean, my anger, my attitude, my give a fuck was not there. I allowed myself to be treated like shit. Of course, the more I got into the harder drugs, the more distant I became a family. The more I lied, the more I manipulated. Then I started doing fentanyl. I could sit here and lie to you and say that it was fucking horrible, but it was way better than ecstasy. I would get this sense of excitement and happiness to talk to people, and it was great. Until one morning, this gentleman that I was living with decided to call me a fucking cunt. 5 a.m. I lost my shit. And I went to hit him. Instead, he put his elbow up, and I broke my arm on his elbow. So that didn't last very long. Police were involved. There was a lot of abuse, and it was very traumatizing. So time goes by. I moved around. I used to call myself the Gypsy of Medicine Hat because I never stayed anywhere too long. Living out of my car, crashing at my dad's house, anyone that had an open couch for that night. I mean, on the outside I looked, people think, oh, you're a pretty girl, you can't have problems. Inside I'm dead. I'm a walking fucking corpse. But not yet, because it got worse. Then I met this other gentleman. I mean, of course, there was always a fucking man because they were going to fix me and make my life better, and that constant urge to feel loved and accepted. So the gentleman that introduced me to ecstasy when I was 18 came back in my life 8 years later. We were all partying, started the night off with a bunch of cocaine. That obviously ran out very quick. Went out to the bar, drinking and having a good time, and of course at that time I had conditions, so I was not allowed to be anywhere. But that didn't stop me. That was the very first time that I snorted methamphetamine. It burned like a motherfucker. It felt like glass shards up my nose, and I was awake for quite some time. That following morning, I had to take myself to court to deal with some legal troubles. And I was trying to hide it from my mom, and I had complete anxiety. Well, not only did I fall in love with meth, I started doing MDMA, mushrooms, still smoking marijuana. I quit my job. Now I was a fucking tweaker. The longest bender I ever went on was 7 days. Look in the mirror, my eyes are sunken in. I got sores all over my feet. I'm hot and I'm cold. I got heat rashes. My pupils are pinpoint. My mom comes over and I lie. And I want her the fuck away from me. Physical fights again with the guy I was living with. It was definition of insanity. I'm repeating the same thing over and over and expecting all these different men to fix me and help me, and masking it with drugs. And so then about 8 months of doing methamphetamine, and I was not fucking enjoying it. I'm chopsticking the blinds. I can't have music on, nothing. I light a cigarette, forget about it. I start an art project, forget about it. Then I move on to the next one. Cleaning the house, doing this, picking my skin, not even my skin, my head, scratching till I sit up and I have flakes in my skin all over the bed. What the fuck have I become? I didn't ask for this. I didn't want this. I couldn't keep digging any deeper and deeper. What was next? Until one night, shit really hit the fan. It was about Christmas time. I spent my Christmas Eve in fucking jail. Wearing a Breaking Bad shirt in jail, which was funny at the time. I still kind of chuckle about it because it's not who I am anymore. I remember talking to police officers after getting the statements and all that, and I straight up told the cop I wanted to kill myself. I remember praying for God to kill me because I was done. Used and abused and strung out, and this was not the life I envisioned at 26 years old. I remember sitting in that jail cell, sleeping a lot. When I was released, I was taken over to the hospital for a psych evaluation because I wanted to die. My mother came and I thought, I'm gonna fucking lie my way out of this. I'm gonna tell her it's just cocaine. I got tired of lying. It was time to face the demons, as they call it. And my mom gave me an ultimatum. Either you get fucking clean and go to detox, or you're not living with me. All right. I think it's time. I think I'm ready to change. I had no idea what I was committing to.
Okay, so you told us your addiction story. So when did that all change for you?
Almost 3 years ago. Probably about 26. Yeah, went into detox, and turns out then they offered what's called the intensive day program. So I went and did my my stint in detox for about 5-6 days. Got out, started the intensive day program down at the provincial building. It was outpatient, so I could go there for a day thing, then go home. I was about 3 weeks sober, and I was faced with another obstacle. My mom had kicked me out of the house, packed my bags, here you fucking go. It would have been a great reason for me to go find some dope and go right back to where I was. Put my clothes in my car, like a dog, tail between my legs. I ended up going to my dad's parents, so obviously my grandparents, and hadn't seen them in years. Here and there, of course, through my addiction, I had said I had depression, and that's why I wasn't coming around. I mean, if anybody knew, they knew. I mean, they'd been around the block. So I ended up going there for supper, and I pretty well asked them if I could move in with them. So I finished my day program, and when this happened, I decided that I wanted to go to treatment, like inpatient treatment. I ended up getting fully funded by the government for an 18-day stint at Landers and Clare's home. I applied myself. I was there for different reasons. I had resentments towards my dad. Halfway through, there was an outbreak. Everybody got sick as shit, including me. So I was quarantined. I wasn't able to finish program. I left. I still had court matters to deal with. I called back again, and I did the program all over again. And it was like I relived high school. I was like, but in a good way, I should say. I was like the popular one because I had been there before. I knew how shit went, and it was like 20 people or so. We all got along. It was kind of strange because I was faced with some guys in there that were like, I'm gonna leave because of you, everybody likes you, and this is bullshit. And I'm like, okay. It was not my fault, you know, like, it's not my fault that we're all getting along. I definitely unpacked a lot of baggage the second trip, all about my mom, so I was able to unload separate issues on separate occasions. I finally finished that program. I got out, still continued to live with my grandparents. It was a change. I kept in touch with quite a few people from treatment. I was doing good for a while, went to my meetings. They were helping keep me stable until all of a sudden I started getting unemployment money. Well, to an addict who's trying to do better, gets a shit ton of money in their bank account, I went up to Calgary to get together with friends from treatment. Well, I relapsed. I got so fucking loser drunk. I had a friend from treatment whose boyfriend let me stay in their basement suite while it was like party time. I had relapsed with two guy friends from treatment. By the end of the night, I had the one guy on the phone looking for meth or blow. At that point, I didn't fucking care what I got. I would say my higher power was looking out for me because nobody came through. No dope was found. So the next day I was severely sick. Vomiting, diarrhea, booze blues, like absolute guilt. I managed to get myself back home to Grandma and Grandpa's and to see the look on my grandmother's face, absolute disappointment. And this is coming from a grandma who supported me no matter what. We sat there and cried together. I felt so pathetic and dirty. And I was given an ultimatum again. Grandma said, if you do this again, you're no longer living here. It's kind of like, well, I better not fuck up again because I'm running out of bridges. So back to a meeting I went, bawled my eyes out, somehow pushed through that. I guess you could say I slipped into a bit of a depression because I slept a lot, kind of stayed in the basement and slowly worked my way back into society, kind of finding a job here and there. I was unemployed for quite a bit of my early sobriety. Then I eventually met the love of my life. And he is also in recovery too. He is my rock, my best friend. Things kind of just, I guess we played cat and mouse for a while. He was shy and going through things, and then eventually, it came ahead and we were able to go through things together. He was in his own, going through his own stuff, and it was the sleepover that never ended. We just moved in together, and recovery is still really fucking hard. For a woman especially. I will have days where I feel just broken and I cry and I feel guilty when I take a me day and just want to sit around the house and watch movies. Some days I still want to smoke marijuana, or I'll be using a can of hairspray, aerosol spray, and I get the taste of meth in the back of my throat. 2 years. What's the date today?
It is September 23rd.
So 2 years, 4 months, and 1 day sober today. I don't even know what to say in regards to sobriety. Words aren't enough. I'm able to see the colors of the leaves and appreciate them. I am able to appreciate a job, which at my age I never thought I'd be going back to something like that. I mean, retail is not what everybody wants to do. But I was given an opportunity to become a supervisor, which around a shit ton of money and having this responsibility and to like almost watch over people in an environment it's huge. I go to sleep every night, I wake up and I can remember what I did the day before. And I've done more first things in my recovery than I have ever in my life. First time skiing, first time water skiing, first time jet skiing. All these activities and hobbies. I never wanted children, and now I'm in like a severe case of baby fever. I look at a baby and I just want to like smother him. I finally feel confident and ready to start my own family, and of course I have my self-doubts, but from what I've seen to where I am now, from childhood to adulthood, I know what would be right and what would be wrong in our household. I will definitely be open about addiction, alcoholism, all that shit, because there's no point on keeping secrets. Secrets keep you sick. So I've had to uncover a lot of ugly truths about self and admit my faults. And I wouldn't change it for the world. I am here today because I got sober.
If you could change something about the stigmas of addicts and addiction, what would it be?
Say that again?
If you could change something about the stigma of addicts or addictions, what would it be?
We didn't choose this. We didn't wake up one day and decide, we're gonna go straight for the hard shit. Shooting heroin, smoking crack, you name it, prostitution for drugs. We didn't choose that. Addiction is a progressive illness. And it is saddening as to how many people are overdosing because nobody gives a shit.
When people say it's a choice and that there's no sympathy given towards those who do that because it essentially is a choice for them, how do you feel about that?
That phrase I can definitely relate to. I have some family members who say, you can just put it down and stop. It's all in the brain. It takes 28 days to create a habit. It fucking pisses me off. There's no ands, if, or buts. And to me, those are the people that we call normies. That I call normies. They don't understand. I mean, constantly chasing that high, that euphoria, that out of yourself because you're so ashamed and embarrassed. I also feel that those people that say those things are also fueling one's addiction. And they'll never understand what goes on during addiction, in sobriety. I mean, shit, even in our sleep. We are clearly wired different than these people are. Because if it was that simple, or if they had a drink for addiction, I would have drank it and I'd be cured.
What do you want to end this on? If you could say one thing that we didn't cover.
For once in my life, I have aspirations of what I see for myself in my future. Throughout battling the methamphetamine addiction, I was around a certain cat and dog, and I didn't cherish them enough. I now have a dog who I adore. She is my best friend. I would love to go back to school, to work in a vet clinic and work with animals. I did the people thing. I'm ready to give back. I mean, animals are such a beautiful gift. And I don't know what's in store for my future, but I just know that it's better than what I had going on in the past. And for that, I'm forever grateful.
It's my best friend, Bobby. Yeah.